All right, good morning, everyone. Baseball and coffee on a Wednesday here in the fall. What's today's date? The 5th, November 5th? Yeah, Wednesday, November 5th, 10:02 a.m. Ooh, this coffee's too hot. I just was about to burn my tongue. We'll have to wait a minute. Anyway, today's going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge. Definitely going to talk about these Gold Glove winners, try to see whether this is just purely, metric based or things like that, and then we'll kind of go from there. I also want to look at a little bit of playoff takeaways as well and get your opinions on some of that. I was on the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast the other day. We were talking a little bit about, starting pitching, the importance of that. That seemed pretty clear as we watch this postseason. So that's one takeaway right off the rip. But at the same time, I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. Quick question in the chat here as we get going. Ayo, Jays fan here. Hearing Bassett and Scherzer love their time in Toronto. How often does love for a city translate into re-signing with the team as a free agent? Well, you've already seen it happen with Bieber, huh? I thought Bieber was for sure opting out and getting a 3 or 4 or 5 year deal. Decided that they want to run it back in Toronto, betting on himself, but also being in a situation he wants to be in. So I think that might have had an effect right there. So that's one way that you're seeing it. I think with an older player, it matters a little bit more. Just a happy situation. You've made your piggy bank's pretty full anyway, so you'd like to be someplace you'd like to be, and if you've had a good experience, I think that definitely helps. Fan wise, teammate wise, organization wise, stuff like that. So yeah, Shane Bieber made that leap, and I think I talked about it a little bit yesterday. I think Bassett is probably a pretty good fit to maybe come back. He's a little bit on the older side. Hope you guys like my fall-inspired setup today on the main screen here. But how old is Seabass? Good old Seabass is 36, almost 37, so he'll play next year at 37. So yeah, I mean, I ran into this situation in my career. I had one of my better years at 36, ended up signing a 2-year deal after that. Is that what happened? Yeah, that's what happened. And I played 37, 38 under that contract. I mean, definitely room for him to get multi-years. But I think that there's opportunity for a guy who's that age. The price will be reasonable. Last 2 years for Bass combined. What are we looking at? We're looking at 1 WAR per season. He did soak up a crap load of innings, 341 and a third in 2 years. So to me, that has a lot of value. Plus, we saw what he brought in the postseason. So, of course, obviously, player always going to argue over price with team. But I do think that Bassett makes sense. Scherzer's in a similar boat in that he's old. He's literally older than me. Man, I hate these little baby keyboards. SCH, Adam. SCH for Schurz. Schurz, yeah, as we know, he's 41. He's going to play next season, 41 going into 42. So he's on strictly 1 year to year at this point. He's been plagued by injuries. The regular season stats aren't necessarily impressive the last 2 years, which for the first time. But, he says he's going to press on. I don't think he'll get the same price he got this year, but somebody will pay him. Especially based on how good he looked in the postseason. Well, I mean, he was serviceable. He was useful. I mean, we watched the game a little bit, and it was a little bit more maybe sketchy than we thought. But this is good questions. These are 2 guys I could see wanting to run it back. I mean, clearly the vibes were big. I read a lot of the wives from the Blue Jays Instagram posts following, the series. And it's pretty clear they had a special thing going there. So if things are all equal, they'll probably end up back there. But if they're not, and they usually aren't, they'll end up somewhere else. All right. So Max back as basically player manager for the Jays. You know how cool player manager is? That is like elite. Doesn't happen too often. Hardly ever now, but I think that's just a cool thing. All right, we got some Bieber talk in the chat here. Any chance Bieber is injured or getting an extension? I don't know. I mean, I thought he was a candidate for the qualifying offer. I thought he was going to opt out and then get a qualifying offer, which would have been larger than the money he just signed in on. So, um, I don't know. It's interesting. I was pretty surprised when I saw Shane Bieber opted in, to be honest with you, just because I just think his skill set and track record would get pretty well rewarded on the market. Ends up only pitching 40 and a third innings this year, 37 strikeouts, 1.017 whip, 357. So he's passing on a $4 million buyout, which made it a $12 million decision. I mean, I feel like he's beating $12 million in terms of average annual value out there on the market. Age-wise, he's in a great spot. I mean, he's 30 right now. Is he almost 31? Let's see. No. Next year, he'll start at 30 again, and then he'll play into 31. So I feel like he could have got multi-years. I'm a little surprised about this move, to be honest. But the argument against it is you're in a place that you're comfortable. You're going to get to go out there and throw up a bigger year and potentially get a bigger bag. And like off of 52 and a third innings over the last 2 years, maybe you're a little unsure about what offers you're going to get. So I don't know. I don't like to speculate on money as much because I feel like that's kind of all over the place and the market kind of is what it is and you don't really know. It's hard to do those predictions. I actually don't like the prediction game, but I usually can predict years based on age and track record, and I think he would have got offers of multiple years. Teams would have been looking to be opportunistic and not pay him as much per year, given that he's been hurt. He had the Tommy John, came back. I don't know. At the same time, maybe there's a team that was willing to make that leap for him, so that would have been interesting to see. I'm still a little surprised. But we saw a ton of opt-outs yesterday. All the ones that were pretty much expected. Cody Bellinger, Pete Alonso, this one, Edwin Diaz. And yeah, I mean, looking at Edwin, he probably made the right choice to opt out. I would guess the Mets will be, fully invested in potentially bringing him back. But, he's coming off of a 3-WAR season out of the bullpen, which is insane. That's top tier. 1.63 ERA, 0.874 whip. Pitched in 62 games. And one of the underrated things about Edwin, obviously had the one freak knee injury, but it's actually the durability piece. Look at the games pitched in his career per year and the consistency of that. 49 games in 16, 66 and 17, 73 and 18. So that was a big one, and that was an all-star year and really his breakout year. And then 66 and 19, then 26 in the shortened season, which is almost half the games, 63 and 21, 61 and 22, which was the best year I've ever witnessed, with the 1.31 ERA and 118 strikeouts in 62 innings. That's what got him paid the first time. Then he had the freak knee injury in WBC. And then even coming off that, he threw 54 games for us in 24. And then this past year for the Metros, another 62. And he got back under 2 ERA with a 1.63. So I think he made the right choice to opt out of the remaining 2 years because he's probably going to get more years. And I think he knows his place on the market. But it's about years. It's not about I don't think he's expecting to make any more money necessarily per year, but I think it's about the years. He's also in a good spot age-wise. You got to capitalize on that. Teams are generally willing to pay you through 35. After that, it's a little tough. But good news. My wife's been alluding to it a little bit in the chat. Edwin said yes to coming on the show. I know he's a big favorite from a lot of kids and a lot of Mets fans, so we're going to get him on, talk a little bit about his journey. And we might do it. We're thinking of coming up with a day to do after-school specials where guys are guys can come on when the kids are out of school and we can get more kids in the chat asking questions. This is my homie right here, Gerardo. My catcher, my off-season catcher, my Mets compadre, my fellow New Yorker. I love to see him in the chat. Anyway, so Edwin's in. We got a lot of Mets people coming on, so if you're a Mets fan, definitely stay plugged. we got some of these dudes coming on in, and this is what my wife was alluding to. Um, so yeah, so there was a lot of these. There was a lot of these. I know you're probably up with the little one, huh, G? Your schedule starts to shift when you got babies in the house. Anyway, there's going to be some good stuff coming on. So the main thing I wanted to tackle, like as a topic today, to lead it off, was the Gold Glove winners, right? So I'll go over here to Savant, and then we'll go through all the defensive leaders, and we'll kind of see where they ranked and what we think about that. I have the photo of all the winners here, so maybe we'll do American League first. Um, so we'll start with the pitcher. Max Fried is your winner here. I find that to be an interesting stat. First of all, I love Max. I love me some Max Fried. But I find it to be an interesting stat who wins pitcher Gold Glove. And I think that it's multifaceted. This is a big part of it is running game. So look at Max's running game dominance this year. Not +9 net braces prevented. Freaking fantastic. They only attempted steals on 0.5% of their opportunities on the whole season, in which he pitched a crap load of innings. I'll check in a second. 4 steals and 1 caught stealing and 4 pickoffs. So he created, outs on the bases. There's 5 outs on the bases created and 5 allowed the whole year. That's truly elite. So that's that probably led a lot to this number here. Now, let's see here. Fielding run value, and then if I go by position, let's see, type fielders. No. Position. Wow, they don't even have pitchers listed on here. So there are DRS stats and different things for pitchers, but I feel pretty good about anointing Max Fried as the American League Cy Young Award. Gold Glove Award winner in the American League pitcher. He's also really good at fielding. Maybe there's a different way I can look at this. See what Fangraphs has to say about it. They have some fielding stats on here. So it's crazy because he made 39 assists this year, which is a lot. I listened to a podcast with Greg Maddux where they were talking about how he wanted to make 100 plays in a year. That was his goal. He felt like he was an elite fielder, which he was. He has all the Gold Gloves, but his goal was to make 100 plays a year, which is crazy. Anyway, he ends up making 10 putouts and 39 assists this year. And you look at the advanced fielding down here. Yeah, he's got positive marks for controlling the running game. What does PM mean? Plus, minus, what's that? Hold on. It just gave me the definition a second ago. No, don't do that. Plus, minus, runs saved. I don't know. DRS, though. 10 DRS. So big time defensive value by the stats for Max. So I don't know. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Hard to look at a pitcher, but gets off the mound so naturally. Him and Suarez from Philly are the best fielding pitchers, I think. I think about best fielding pitchers in my lifetime. The Japanese guys really stand out because of their practice. I talked about it a little bit with Yamamoto yesterday, but like Senga's really good. Tanaka was really good. I know Senga got hurt covering first this year, but that notwithstanding, they have really good fundamentals. Obviously, you think Greg Maddux, you think Zach Greinke. There's others. I played with Ulysses Chassin, who was elite at fielding his position up the middle. A lot of it has to do with wanting the balls hit back to you and having that kind of style. I never wanted the ball hit back to me at all. But anyway, that's Max Fried. That's the first guy. And then it looks like we have a lot of people who want to go ahead and get right into the catcher conversation. So we'll go ahead and do AL catcher, as Dylan Dingler ended up being the winner this year from the catcher position, which is definitely Definitely controversial, I would say. So let's see what the values have to say. Fielding run value, Alejandro Kirk with a 22 number is 10 ahead on Baseball Savant of Dylan Dingler. Wow. Let's see how it breaks down. Kirk versus Dingler. Also, Narvaez is tied with Dingler as well for total fielding run value. So the statistics are already kind of going against this, huh? Let's see how it breaks down, though. We'll go through every little bit of leaderboard stuff. Catcher blocking. Alejandro Kirk, number 1 in catcher blocking. Dylan Dingler ranks number 4th. I mean, it's a very strong score at 10 blocks above average. But Kirk is lapping the field, 21 blocks above average. That's amazing. And like the visual for the blocks is weird. Like as you can see here, you know, you can look at different zones where they're good and where they struggle. He's basically a freaking Hoover, except for when he has to skirt to the right of himself and the ball bounces absurdly far in front of the plate. But I feel like who's good in this zone? You know what I mean? Nobody. Let's see here. I got some stuff in the chat that's going to help me understand this a little better. Yeah, so Kirk had much more value. I mean, this is the first way. This is from blocking. So Kirk had the edge in blocking. Now let's look at the framing, and I think Kirk was pretty damn good at framing too, right? He ended up ranking number 2 in the game in framing, so number 1 in the AL. I mean, dude, what I can tell you is Patrick Bailey is unfreaking real. But one of the things I loved about watching, wow, there's a lot of data here. Let me unclick off of that for a second, and then we'll return to that. I've talked about this a little bit on the stream, but guys who can both frame at the top and at the bottom are really rare. If you look at the breakdown, most of the guys are elite in one plane or the other, at the top or the bottom. Kirk and Bailey are the only guys that I've seen on the very, very high end that were above average on both. Bailey, which we'll talk about on the National League side, was elite at both. Kirk's better at the bottom, which is pretty obvious when you watch the games. He's squatty, he's down low, he's good at going down to like low to high with the glove. And that's fairly obvious. The fact that he's able to get the ones on the top is also pretty interesting, and he's just so well-rounded. He's above average in every plane. Shadow left, shadow right. I mean, Hart, you don't have to do much framing, but above average in every way. So top tier in the American League in blocking, actually in the whole big leagues in blocking, and number 1 in the American League in framing. So I'm feeling a little bit of a Rob job here. Is my first thought, and then catcher throwing. All right. Dingler is 10th in catcher throwing. Oops. Sorry about that. And where is our guy, Alejandro Kirk? Way down here in 28th. So he was a 0 in throwing run value, whereas Dingler was a 4. So I don't think that outweighs the other two other two categories that we're looking at, which is framing and blocking. But he does have them in throwing. Let's watch a little bit of Dylan Dingler throwing guys out. Just for fun. He's got a cannon. Of course, this is an unbelievable tag by Baez. What else is new? Look at this tag. Javi's the best tagger I've ever seen. It's unbelievable what a unique kind of niche skill it is, but he's unbelievable at that. All right, here is another one. Let's watch Dingler. I believe he's got a better arm than Kirk, and that's probably why his throwing value ended up better. It looks like he's throwing these balls very hard. Dingler's a guy I had never even heard his name before this year. you know, one of my guys is over there with Detroit, Tomas Nito, but Dingler kind of took over this year as like the defensive guy, you know, and then I believe Rogers was mainly the other catcher. Here's another caught stealing. This one's at third. Ooh, really good pick by Ibanez over here. It looks like it's mostly not transfer, it's arm. I'm curious to look at the metrics on Dingler and how he's getting it done when you break it down a little more granularly. Here's another one, Jordan Westberg. So he threw a bunch of dudes out, which, you know, I was talking about it with somebody yesterday. You got to be above average throwing behind the plate now with the way that the stealing game has progressed with the rule changes. This is a fucking dime. Are you shitting me with this throw? I mean, put it in a better spot. My God. Sweeney didn't have to do one freaking thing. He just caught it and tagged him. So we've seen how he can affect the game a little bit with the arm right there. I am curious to look at his pop time stuff just to see where he ranks on the arm strength. It looks like it's very high. Oh, he's number one. He's number one. 89 mile an hour average on arm strength. That's fantastic. The exchange, 0.71, not particularly fast. That would rank him way down, 72nd in baseball. So that's what it looked like. It's interesting when the 89 stop, bro. That is an amazing cannon. But you can see it. He's very he doesn't try to go quick. He stands up and he just throws it with all his might, but he's also pretty accurate. So, all right. So he's got him a little bit on the throwing game. I am curious to watch Kirk throw some guys out since that would be fun. Here we go. Mr. Kirk's down here. I know that there are going to be some caught stealings. Here's one. I don't know. I'm definitely feeling like Kirk got robbed. I like that Dingler gets, you know, some hardware when nobody knows about him. And it's, you know, Gold Gloves are one of the coolest awards. When you're in Dodger Stadium and you're down by the Dodger locker room, there's a corridor there that has all these Gold Glove awards in the case. And I have to say, I think they're probably the coolest awards out there. All right, so a good throw there by Kirky. Doesn't look like he does it with a great arm strength, right? So we'll go check that in a second. Here's another one.
There he goes. Polanco swings and misses the throw. Not in time.
Good throw. Gets J-Rod there. Man, Yimi Garcia. When did Yimi go down this year? Pretty early?
There he goes. Polanco swings and misses the throw. Not in
Kirk improved a ton with his arm to get average slightly to above average throughout a good percentage. Here's a Bellinger. So it's not like he wasn't throwing. Oh, we're unable to display that page. That's cool. So it's not like he wasn't throwing guys out. He was throwing guys out. And obviously, he was absolutely dominating in the fielding, you know, blocking and framing departments. So I feel pretty strongly that Kirk should have won this award. You know, not to take anything away from Dingler. He graded well in almost every category as well. So he must have popped off the bag here. Yep. But overall, I feel like Kirk got screwed a little bit there. Let me look at the catcher pop time to see where Mr. Kirk ranks. Team Blue Jays update. Pop time's above average. Arm strength is above average. Looks like an exchange. So it's a little bit of, he does a little bit of everything. All right, so now that I know where he's at, I can take away the Blue Jays again. I can kind of see where that ranks. Sorry. Yeah, he was in the 81 mile an hour arm range. So that's 53rd by arm strength. So, I mean, I guess it's not way above average, but it's not putrid either. And then exchange time. Where is he? Where's our guy? Where's our friend? Thought he was pretty fast. Did I miss him? Toronto. Yeah, there he is. 32nd in exchange. So it's a little bit of both, but overall, you tie it all together for pop time. Ultimately, it's a math problem at the end of the day for catchers. And he ranks 39th in pop time, 1.95. It's interesting because Dingler, who has a much slower release, also has a 1.94 pop time, albeit he makes up for it with arm strength. So I don't know, interesting to look at. But if you look at the total, fielding run value of catchers, Alejandro Kirk way ahead of Dingler. 22 fielding run value, and Dingler at 12. Narvaez had just as good of an argument as Dingler, according to this, and then even Wellesley to some extent. So anyway, wanted to point that out. Also impressive, just noticing it on the leaderboard. Not that it matters for this conversation, but Cal Raleigh, +7 fielding run value, while also murdering baseballs. So that's pretty good. Kirk was robbed. That's my thought. Do teams or agents do anything to lobby for their players getting awards? I think they used to, but listen, this Gold Glove shit got out of control years ago when Rafael Palmeiro won the award while barely playing first base. So I think it used to be more of a political thing. Like you almost had to hit your way into a Gold Glove, which makes no sense. But now it's much more metrics based. All right, that's enough for the catcher in the American League. That was a pretty good little debate. Ty France was the winner in the American League at first base. And to be honest with you, I've never noticed his defense. Ever. But you can see right here, fielding range, outs above average, 10. So he had a huge year defensively. Let's go by position. Now, it's tough to look at first base plays because Baseball Savant doesn't show like 5-star infield plays or anything. They do have plays by out probability that sometimes if I get ahead of it early enough, I can send to MLB and they'll send me some clips, but we don't have many clips of the infielders. But anyway, you can see here, it holds up. In the American League, who's the next closest? Ezekiel Duran, he's got a pretty good lead on him. And it looks like it's range. You look at Ty France, you don't immediately think range, but he's the winner, so I have no problem with this result. Congrats to Ty France at first base. Seems fine by me. All right, now we go look at second base. I believe was Marcus Semien, which is fascinating because he was a kind of a butcher at shortstop when he first came up. Ron Washington famously fixed him, and then he turned himself into a hell of a defender. All right, who else in the American League did he have to contend with? Mauricio Dubon, who I think is one of the more elite fielders in the game, but he probably clicks in more with utility, would you guys say? Semien, though, looking great. And Andres Jimenez would have been the other guy to battle it out with. Andres Jimenez. I don't really have a lot of information here on the fielding run value category. What else is there here? On the infield, man, there's just not a lot to look at. You just get to look at the whole entire picture, and then you go, okay, so Jimenez won utility. Okay, I didn't even look at all the winners yet. Sorry, Dan. Love the menorah, by the way. But utility Gold Glove's almost cooler than one position. You're like, I do it all. You know what I mean? Oh, Dubon won utility. That makes sense. He's more of an all-around player. Sorry, guys, but Mauricio Dubon is unbelievable all around on defense. So Clement could have been, people are saying. I don't have a good feel for that. It's just what I love about Dubon is he really literally plays all over. Look at this year's total run value, 17. It's fantastic. He was great in the outfield and in the infield. Outs above average this year by position for Mauricio Dubon. 8 at second, 3 at third, 8 at shortstop, and 1 in center. So that's pretty cool. I don't really care too much about the other metrics. I think outs above average is a much cleaner, better metric for me than DRS or UZR. So I find that fascinating. Let's check Ernie Clement though while we're here because it seems like people in the chat are all about it. So we're gonna take a look at Clement. Clement fielding. Come, I can't click on the fielding. Hold on, I'll go about it a different way. No. How did I do it with Dubon though? When I click on Clement, oh, here it is. Okay, perfect. So yeah, on the year total 10 run value. So I think Dubon hasn't beat overall in terms of total run value on defense. Let's look by position. 6 at second, 7 at third, 2 at short. I think where he gets beat out is just the fact that Mauricio played a little bit of outfield, but he was great at every spot, no doubt about it. Last time Ernie played outfield was 2022. I don't know. I mean, it's tough. Only one guy can win it, you know? Man, Ernie Clement, responsible plays 2025. Do we have any sick 5-stars? What's this play? This is him hitting. I don't want him hitting. Yeah, they don't have anything on him because he didn't play much outfield, and that's where that stuff comes from. All right, so we've looked now at utility, and at second base, Semien looks like he earned it. The other guys were more in the utility category. Clement and Dubon, that's a good battle. It does look like I have Dubon, for me, slightly ahead of him. Oh, I mean, it's not even for me. It's for StatCast. Like, I'm just reading numbers, basically. So, but if you look at Mauricio by total fielding value, 17. 17 is more than 10. So I get how that kind of got equated and how that kind of worked out, and kind of sucks for Clement. And also, if he could have stayed at one spot, like if he played second base the whole year, he probably would have had more fielding value than a Marcus Semien. I know Jays fans have love for Marcus because he used to be a Jay, but anyway. All right, who's next? Michael Garcia and Bobby Witt win at third and short, respectively. All right. Fielding run leaderboard by position. Let's look at shortstops. Now, I know in the National League, Mason Wynn was the winner. I made a whole video on Mason Wynn, but he had an injury that was pretty bad. Speaking with some Cardinal people, he didn't feel great physically the whole second half of the year. So his numbers kind of declined as the season went on. Bobby Witt took over. Bobby Witt, 20 fielding run value. He's my best young player in the game, position player, in my opinion. And also, this is the Royals' best left side of the infield because the third baseman as well, Michael Garcia, I believe I just mentioned was the Gold Glove winner there. So got no problem with Bobby. I think Bobby's the man. We're in a moment of really elite defensive shortstops. Oh, we got Manoras coming into the picture. Bobby, Mason Wynn, Nick Allen's underrated. He's really good. Trey, Joey Ortiz. This is good to see. This was good to see. I didn't notice this year. Good thing to point out. Xander, who I thought needed to maybe move off of shortstop when I played with him with the Red Sox. Hey, set positive 7 run value, kind of bringing his value back in a little bit. And then the rest, they're all good players, but they're kind of a little further down. One guy that I do think is tremendous at shortstop, couple guys a little bit further down the list that I think are tremendous at shortstop. Now, some of these are National League guys, so it doesn't matter. But, I mean, obviously Lindor stands out a lot. He's super consistent, makes every play. So I love watching him. Mookie took a huge leap forward this year and became a Gold Glove finalist, which was really impressive for only his second year at short. I also think Ezekiel Tovar is a guy who's a little bit underrated, but he didn't get enough value because he didn't play enough innings. All right, so that's shortstop. I have no problem with either of those winners. I think I'm really happy for Mason Wynn. That's a big win for him. That's great. And Bobby, Bobby's going to be tough to take down in the American League probably. And then at third base, These are the two winners, the guys that are way ahead of the field. Key Brian Hayes and Michael Garcia. To be honest, I've never noticed Michael Garcia's fielding. I didn't know he was this elite, so that's pretty cool. My guy, Ryan McMahon, ended up with 7 fielding run value. Jose Ramirez kind of does it on both sides of the ball. There's Ernie Clement popping up again for his third base work. So I think Ernie's almost kind of screwed a little bit because he doesn't play in one position long enough to win the award. Yeah, no, I like these guys a lot. This is a good comment on Mookie. Mookie was tutored by Rojas all year. I think that's great, man. You know, you're with a guy who you know can show you the ropes and show you all the key things. I mean, you're a multi-time MVP. Coming into this year, he had 3 World Series. He's one of the biggest superstars in the game. But learning from everyone around you is an important skill to have. What are you looking at, babe? You're checking out.
Good enough for my dam.
All right, so we got Hanukkah started up. We got Christmas started up. We're getting going.
We fix things on the spot.
Tovar is spectacular at positioning, so they have a good sense of where to make him stand. Rocky shortstop, it's like almost more valuable to be a great defender in the infield for the Rockies because it's like if you're better at converting those balls into outs, you have an edge on the other team, and you need every edge you can get on batted balls. Also, double plays are God, they're worth so much at Coors Field because 2 outs on 1 swing is, it's rare anywhere, but it's even more rare at Coors. You got it, Dan. All right, so those are the third basemen. That passes the smell test to me. What else we got here? Now we get into the fun stuff because we can watch a little bit of outfield. Oh, I neglected to look at the National League first baseman and second baseman, which are Olsen and Horner. I saw Olsen led the pack, so that's good. Nico's also really good, right? He's probably the number 1 second baseman, I would guess. You got to love this Cubs defense. Between Nico, PCA, Hap, Dansby, what a team to pitch in front of, right? And Nico way ahead of the field at second base, so he well-deserved at second base. All right, like I said, there should be a little more fun as we now get to the outfield. Cedon, PCA, Abreu, Tatis, Hap, and Kwan are your 4 outfield leaders. So this will be fun. Let's go take a peek at our outfield outs above average leaderboard. So Jacob Young and Andy Pajes and Victor Scott have something to say about, but I do think they go position by position. Is that correct? Does anybody know if they go position by position for that? Hold on, we have some stuff in the chat here I'm curious about. Pretty cool bets from Gold Glove right fielder to almost Gold Glove at short, and Tatis went to right field from shortstop and is winning Gold Glove. Yes. Pretty rare transitions. Now, we've seen guys go from the infield to the outfield and become great in the past. I think Alex Gordon is a good example of that. There's been others. So the Tatis thing's not unprecedented. But I would say the Mookie thing is totally unprecedented. Being a complete Gold Glove outfielder, then coming back to the infield dirt and becoming elite. All right, anyway, here's our outfield dudes. Our 2 center fielders are right at the very top, Cedon Rafaela and Pete Crow Armstrong. What's crazy about Cedon is he also typically gets innings in the infield. He didn't this year, but he's typically really good at everything. Jacob Young, who we saw basically really contribute to the Mets not making the playoffs, being unbelievable. And he grades some of his numbers on the StatCast metrics are actually incredible. And some of the outfield leaderboard stuff. Outfield jump. These are the best guys in terms of jump. And we saw how that played out in terms of mattering in the postseason a little bit, right? Like Kike got a 7-point-something feet versus average jump on that double play that ended game 6. And, this is a who's who of some of the best outfielders in the game. And jump is one of the biggest stats you look at. How quick are you at breaking on the ball and going and hunting down those fly balls as soon as the contact is made? Cedon Rafaela, best in the league, 5.3 feet versus average. Pete Crow Armstrong, 4.4 feet versus average. So I'm just going to go ahead and watch some of the very best plays from the year from some of these dudes, if I can. How come it's not letting me do that? Hold on. Leaderboards. outfielder catch probability. I know one of these has a visual. Outs above average. One of these has a visual, right? I've done this before where I've watched these dudes play catches. This ain't it. This ain't it. Do da do da do 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 do. Hold on, I'll figure this out. Sorry. Leaderboard, fielding run value. I think I have to go from fielding run value. Yeah, here it is. All right, so here's Sadon. And let's go ahead and try to look for some 5 stars. Ooh, Dick Fitz on the mound. Bo Bitchett at the plate. And then this freaking guy's nuts going in the gap. Are you kidding me with this? He went so far out of his normal range. I mean, center field, I know he's playing in the right center gap, right? But look where center field is relative to where he catches this ball. And mind you, Willie Abreu won the Gold Glove in right. So the Red Sox have always had great outfield defenders. And I actually think because of Fenway, there's a little bit more opportunity to make crazy plays that will grade high. But, dude, this guy just puts his absolute body on the line. You can see his pitchers love it. That is catch number 1. Let's see this one.
415 feet now. Castro.
I mean, we talk about burst, right? Like jump. When I did my video watching PCA play center field, the thing that amazed me the most is you see the ball hit off the bat, the camera cuts to the outfielder, and he is like in full stride on the ball. Like there's no like, it doesn't look like he just started running. Like he's been gone. Like he's at full speed. Sadon, very similar effect. He actually has a better jump, better burst than PCA, and you see it here. Like you're just simply not getting to this ball if you don't get an incredible jump. So that's a big part of it. It's your pre-pitch routine. How ready are you to react? How good are you at reading balls off the bat? That's a big factor in being one of these dudes. All right, what's this play? We got Stevie Matz on the mound here for this one, benefiting. Like, off the bat, this play looked impossible. It does tail back to him a little bit, but it's more of the same. Just an incredible jump. And he's just there. Loves to dive, not afraid to get hurt. Oops. Which is great, you know, very, very cool. All right, what else we got here? This is another 5-star. Greg Weissert on the mound. Made that look easy. This is not easy. This ball's hit pretty hard, low line drive. But he's on it again. So, I'm trying to figure out what the best qualities are for an outfielder, and it seems like obviously speed matters, but that jump seems to be a huge factor in terms of actually getting to balls, impacting the game on defense. Obviously, arm's another factor, but it's a little bit different because you can only do what you can do opportunity-wise with your arm. So we see he's elite at coming in on balls, which actually, not everybody is. It seems like the easier thing to be great at, but in all truthfulness, a lot of guys struggle coming in on the ball, and not Sadon. I mean, you see, these are all ranked as like tough plays, but it's because he's just getting such a good jump. He's making it so easy. Let's see if we can find some of his throwing real quick. Leaderboards, outfield, arm value. Got a couple videos in here of Sadon throwing guys out. I think we've watched a little bit of it on the thing, but we're gonna spend a little time with these outfielders because we have fun. We have fun stuff to look at. I think this is one. Peyton Tolley on the mound here.
That one into center field. That's gonna get down. Cattell gonna test the arm of
Oh boy. Nice play. A big part of it again is that charge factor. he comes flying in. Like, he's able to field these balls in stride. So, you know, typically Ketel Marte is going to run right in this guy's face and get there. But you can see he's a sitting duck with this cannon. And a nice one hopper to Bregman. He's able to put the tag on him. And he gets him. So that's a good throw right there. That's an example of what he can do a little bit. With the throwing arm, what else we got here? Here's another one. I know I'm spending a lot of time on Sadon, but, you know, he's the best outfielder in the game metrically this year. So this is why. I mean, look at this. This is an infield skill. And you're going to notice that a couple of these dudes that are elite in the outfield, they have infielder actions. Steven Kwan, certainly. Even lefties. You know, Kwan, PCA, to some extent, they have infielder actions. Like, they're quick, they're short with their arm stroke, they're accurate. They can do a number of different things. So that played out right there. Fielding it off of the line. I mean, off of the wall. Maybe we'll look for one more if I can find it. It's amazing how many opportunities outfielders get. This is an RBI hit, but I think he throws somebody out. Let's see. Oh, Crochet. Oh, he's going to hose the second runner. It's just the ability to come in full speed without breaking stride, so you get to the ball a little quicker, and then you're really good and accurate with your throw and your crow hop. So great job there by Sadon. You know, the jump seems to be the biggest thing. He seems to be great at going in on the ball. Also, when he goes back near the wall, he definitely isn't scared of the wall and not even really considering the pain that he might inflict. So anyway, that was a quick look at Sadon Rafaela and his throws. Back to the fielding run value leaderboard, and we go back to outfielders again just to check. So PCA was another pretty easy pick here. He is also good with the arm and with the range. So he's good. These other guys that are center fielders, obviously they got screwed by just these other dudes being center fielders. You know, if Rafaela and PCA don't exist, you might have a Jacob Young or Andy Paez or a Victor Scott in there. Brenton Doyle's another one who's elite. 11 on his fielding run value this year, but he's a center fielder too, so they got kind of, you know, hurt just by there being more elite guys. And then I want to really highlight my guy, Steven Kwan, one of my favorite players in the game. He does it with the arm, like unbelievable with the arm. Extra bases prevented. He's 7 on that, but he's also a really good fielder as well. Let's go look at some of his plays for Mr. Steven Kwan in left field. And I think a big part of his throwing value, like we'll go look at Kwan's throws, a big part of it is those infielder actions I was talking about. He's quick to get rid of the ball. He keeps his feet moving. He always has really good awareness of where everything is. So, you know, he's a little bit of a do-it-all type of guy in the outfield, which is rare to have. Oh, Kwan has a cannon. We're about to go look at Kwan throw some guys out right now. He's got a cannon and he's quick with it. Let me see if there's one more good catch, though, to watch real quick before we go look at his arm. Poor DJ got robbed here. And he's just on it. Same thing. Good burst. Good routes. Pretty good at everything. All right, let's go look at his throwing. Because he's #1 in the game in terms of stopping advances. This is a relay. We don't need that. A lot of times you get value for holding the runner where they are. So in a way, what you need to look at is you need to look at fielder runs. Here he is throwing out Vlad. This was the highest run value he had on a defensive throw this year, but watch how he plays it. Dink and pink, using his momentum and putting that throw right on the freaking money. Great throw right there by Kwan. And then we got this one.
out to the Sandlots and hurry up and sign him. Uh-oh. Line drive base hit left field. Quan up with it. He's throwing home.
You see the transfer. It's almost like a catcher. He gets rid of that ball so fast. I mean, it's a bing, bing. Like, that is a quick little release. And it gets back a little bit to Dansby Swanson talking a little bit about how the best way to train kids defensively is to put them out there at shortstop, make them field everything on the run with one hand, and just make throws and make plays and kind of let your body self-organize and figure it out. I think he's right. I think Stephen Kwan must have spent some time, you know, doing some training that makes him not a robot. Here's another one. Stephen Kwan throws out Eric Wagaman at home. It's a gun. Like, I think it's a gun, but it's also how quick he is and how accurate he is. It's a combination of all of them. He reminds me of Gerardo Parra. Gerardo Parra, who I might even just throw a YouTube up of Gerardo Parra's defense from his Gold Glove years back with the Diamondbacks. It's very similar. Maybe we can go look at that in a second. But you see all these outs. I mean, he threw a bunch of dudes out this year. This is a relay, but he's part of it.
And he just wraps one up the alley. Quan can't cut it off. He goes to the wall. Bellinger
just quick getting the ball in. This is going to be a relay play. Actually, a great play by the shortstop and a great tag by, looks like that's Hedges. But, you know, every little bit matters. Getting the ball in, all matters. What's this one? You throw somebody out here too? Is this to end the game? Base hit. But then Quan says, I'm just going to win the game. Oh, well, Tauchman blew out on the way home. I didn't realize that. But he does throw him out to end the game. Damn, poor Tauchman. I don't remember this happening. I know he was hurt for a little bit. I didn't know it was to end the game. Holy cow. All right, so you get the idea. Quan's got a cannon. Let's go look at the leaderboard for arm strength in the outfielders. Because people are asking me about Barger and where his arm ranks. This is outfielder arm strength. Addison Barger is number 3 overall, averaging a ridiculous 96.5 miles an hour on his throws from the outfield. Only beaten out by Yanquiel Fernandez of the Rock Show and O'Neill Cruz of the Pirates. So yeah, Barger does it with the arm strength for sure. And Quan's nowhere near there, but it shows you that it's a little bit of there's a little bit of a difference between having a great arm and also having great arm value. As damn, where's Quan rank? Where's his? That's crazy. So Cleveland Guardians. Yeah, I mean, Quan's all the way down here. It's above average, 86.5, but it's literally 10 miles an hour slower than Addison Barger's arm. So, you know, he's dominating an arm value with an above average arm, but not a very, very top of the scale arm, which is interesting to look at. So, anyway, that was the old update on arm strength. Who else made it big time? Who else won the Gold Gloves? Wilyer Abreu won the Gold Glove in right with a positive 8 run value. Defensively, that looks like that was a little bit debatable. Can I go actual position, right field? Yep, the top 2 guys in run value won the right field awards. Tatis, we've mentioned he does a little bit of it all. Wilyer Abreu, also pretty good. Sal Frelick would have been right behind Tatis. Wow, Nathan Lucas, Judge, although Judge had that arm problem that probably hindered him a little bit. So those are our right fielders, and then let me just check in on our left fielders, where Ian Happ was the winner in the National League. And then who won it in the American League? Oh, we already said that. Quan. So Quan's great. We love Quan. Happ won it in the National League. Then Rafael Abreu, Armstrong, and Tatis. Okay. Interesting that Happer won this award. He's way down here in outs above average this year at 26th. I'm a little confused at how Happ ended up winning this with fielding run value. I feel like he got a little screwed. Who would have been the National League entrant? Eli White? So it's not a huge gap because most of the elite guys were in the most of the elite guys were in the American League this year. Eli White, Isaac Collins, Andy Pages played a little bit of left field, I guess. I don't know. That one seems a little suspicious to me. Look at Miles Straw in center on 50% playtime. Kind of insane. I mean, he is super fast, Miles Straw. So that definitely helps. Got great range. Yeah, he's got a positive 7 run value in center field, good for a tie for 10th in baseball, and he didn't really get a lot of playing time, which is crazy to think about. So Straw, if he could get more playing time, could probably bring home the hardware at some point. Let's see if there's any 5 stars from Miles. Curious. Running, bobbling catch. Ooh, Chad Green sighting.
To right center field, long run, Straw.
Oh. Good reaction here. But also another guy like really fast off the bat. You know, you turn around, he's already in full stride here. Drake Baldwin goes and catches this ball pretty far over. No panic drill. And then you can see the reaction. I don't know what he's exactly doing there, but that's funny to look at. Let's see what this one is. Varsho's another one who we know is elite in the outfield as well. He would have been in the mix too if he hadn't missed so much time. Straw has the highest fielding percentage in his position in MLB history, I'm pretty sure, which is a neat stat. That's pretty cool. Here's the thing, though. You know, Miles is not really a factor at the plate, and so it becomes tough to play him every day. But he's a very valuable guy, and that's why he's made money in his career, and that's why he's been on winning teams in his career, because he's very valuable defensively. Here's Miles from left field. Now, I should mention, like, Coors Field is a weird place to evaluate because just go ahead and look at the square footage out there. My goodness, is there a lot of ground to cover. But left field is arguably just as big as center field in Coors, so you need a center fielder in left. You really need to have 3 center fielders manning Coors at all times. So it looks like it's Varsho in center in this moment when they were playing the Rock Show, and Straw in left. That's a pretty good alignment. And, you know, he comes flying in there for that play. And, all right, that's good for Miles Straw. But those are our outfielders. I can't say I have a huge issue with too much of it. I mean, Ian Happ's a little suspicious in left field, for sure. But, you know, interesting little stuff to look at. Now, on catcher, this is the last one. He was the best defender in the game this year by total run value. Where is he? And it's the one and only Patrick Bailey. Now, Patrick Bailey didn't hit a lick this year, but, I mean, lapping the field in terms of fielding run value, nobody comes close to him on the National League side. 25 in framing, 5 in throwing, 1 in blocking. So you go ahead and you look at every little aspect of catcher defense, and he's up there. Blocking, he doesn't rank as high as the very, very tippy top, but he was above average. Let's see. Let's load the Patrick Bailey visual. Here's the Patrick Bailey visual. What does he struggle with on the blocking side? Guess a little bit to his left, and then the extreme to the right. But like, who's good at these? You got to pick all these balls, and then these ones are kind of blocking. He's good at all those. I don't know. Pretty good all around. That looks fine. Let's look at catcher framing, where he's #1 by a lot. Now, I will say part of this has to do with getting so many innings with Logan Webb. Logan Webb is painting all day long, and you're able to kind of steal those strikes. But he's the rare guy that is absolutely elite in every part of the strike zone. Literally, +9 on the top, +6 on the bottom, +6 on the left, +4 on the right. It's spectacular. It's so much better than everybody else. So no problem with Patrick Bailey winning. He should probably win the Platinum Glove this year, based off of his statistics. Catcher throwing, he ends up right behind my guy Luis Torrens and Carlos Narvaez for throwing value. But here's Patrick Bailey throwing guys out because they're really fun to watch. He's got that style where he kind of swoops the ball like an infielder and slings it to second. But I think it's just one of the coolest styles ever. Catch and sling. And if I played catcher, this would be the guy I would try to emulate because I think the way he goes about it is great. And I don't even mind him not having perfect backspin on his throws and them kind of coming a little bit back into the line because the modern day infielders want the ball on the first base side of the bag so that they can tag the runner on, catch him on a little bit of body part somewhere. And, if it's on the third base side of the bag, you got no shot to put the tag down. But if it's on the first base side, you have a chance. So I don't mind the arm action on it. Like, I feel like it actually probably works to his advantage a little bit, making sure that balls kind of swoop into that first base side of the bag. But he's a treat to watch. That was a strike him out, throw him out, where Tatis didn't know what happened. Seems like that happens in the regular season too, not just in the postseason. Like we saw it happen twice to the Blue Jays, where they stopped running and got out. Man, that was sick. JV doesn't get a lot of guys running on him because he usually is pretty, I wouldn't say like crazy fast to the plate, but he's fast at either picking or pitching. Like he comes set, he picks or pitches pretty consistently, pretty fast. So a lot of guys don't attempt on him, but here's an attempt, and then Bailey just says, you know what? I'm going to throw a perfect one-hopper. And this is what I meant about the ball being on this side of the bag. If the ball's over here, it gives the guy a chance to grab the snatch and tag. If it's on the other side, you don't get a chance to snatch or tag at all. So, anyway, love watching this guy throw. He's sick. There's one. Let's get some more. Caught stealing. Here's one. He threw a lot of guys out this year, huh?
Runner goes. Swing and a miss. Bailey's throw.
Ooh, I like this comment because I can visualize the Giants announcers. Bailey's on the move as he got that inside park home run walk off this year. Which oddly, I had some experience with inside the park home run to a walk off in San Francisco myself years ago. Angel Pagan, wasn't off of me, but it was off of my team, and I was kind of like, holy shit. Here's one. Ooh, Camilo Doval, Yankee great. I mean, this technique is just sick. He's already moving. You see, like as he catches it, he's getting himself swooped out to clear that arm out. I love his technique. It's just so free-flowing and like just letting him open himself up to be an athlete, not trying to be a robot, doing any Tom Mansky stuff, or anything like that. I could watch him throw all day. So, crushes it with throwing value. Number 1 in framing. Number 2 in blocking. So, hard to argue with that because the overall run value was super sick. But we just wanted to watch him throw a little bit because it's a treat. He goes about it a little differently than everybody else with the sling throw, so that's pretty fun. And the accuracy too, right on the bag. Now he wasn't number 1 in baseball in throwing run value. That went to my buddy Carlos Narvaez was up there, but also Mr. Luis Torrens. So I just thought while we're here, why not watch Luis Torrens throw out a few guys? Because his thing is like kind of above average in every category, but perfect accuracy. He just makes a good throw every time. You're going to see on a lot of these throws, And these caught stealings from LT.
Ball to the catcher.
He's very accurate. He does a little bit of the same too with that throw on the other side of the bag. As Acuna puts on the tag there. This is the new thing they're teaching, like miss on this side of the bag. I've talked about it a little bit, but he changed our whole fortunes in 2024. If I'm being honest, we were in deep trouble with the running game prior to Terens getting there. I mean, Alvy's good, but between, I believe it was Nito and Narvaez, we were struggling a little bit holding runners. Don't get me wrong. A lot of it was the pitcher's fault, but you need somebody to cover up that weakness. Enter Luis Terens. Check out this throw on one knee, and Edwin, who's just as bad as me, basically, at holding runners. It's a beautiful thing to have a guy like this back there and kind of cover up your weak spot. This is a throw from one knee to absolutely hose him. What a freaking throw, man. And this is so big with Edwin in the game, because anytime Edwin's in the game, they're going to try to get the scoring position because he's tough to get hits off of, and you don't think you're going to hit home runs. So, yeah, I really think this was big, and I expect more teams to prioritize catchers who can throw as we move forward. It's just like with the stolen base rates are going to keep climbing. You need to mitigate that somehow. There's another perfect throw. That was sick. Let's see another one here. Looks like Kodai benefited quite a bit. Ooh, a delayed steal. Not fooled. Right to Frankie. Good pick. See you later. So this was a delay. He doesn't run right away. This is a sneaky Diamondback play. But he's not fooled. And he puts it right on the money to get out Corbin Carroll. So just wanted to point out how good he is. I think it also makes sense to watch a few from Narvaez. And what's so crazy to me, is that the Yankees had both of these guys just chilling in AAA. Not getting called up to the big leagues. And then the next year, they end up on two basically rival teams, Mets and Red Sox, and they lead the league in throwing run value, the two of them, Carlos Narvaez and Luis Terens. So Yankees had literally two of these guys just sitting there that they could have utilized, and they didn't, and they ended up going other places. This has actually happened quite a bit with the Yankees over the last few years, not only with catchers, but also with some pitching talent. You know, you look at some of the guys who turned into elite relievers other places, J.P. Fireeisen, Eric Swanson, Stevens. Obviously, there's the Garrett Whitlock Rule 5 pick that looms large at this point, you know, being that he's a Red Sox fixture. But Terens and Narvaez, you know, I would count them in that group. These are big-time contributors, you know, on defense, and they're elite. So... yeah, and as Gerardo's pointing out, Venezuelan catchers, absolute bazookas. You know, the Latinos are really special behind the plate. You know, Puerto Rico has obviously the heritage with the Molinas and, you know, Posada and others, you know, Martin Maldonado, etc. Then, you know, the Venezuelans as well with some of these hoses. All right, let's watch. Yep, Kirky's Venezuelan as well. Let's watch this one. Speaking of Whitlock, there he is on the mound. Wow, what a tag by Story. Good little convo here between Story and Lindor. I would love to see what they're saying, but... Oh, I think he's safe. Maybe he comes off the bag here. Anyway, good throw there. Every throw's good. So I wanted to watch that. Oh, yeah, Kirk is Mexican. I'm sorry. That's obvious. How did I not know that? Comes out to the Mexican music and everything. Ugh. Sorry, guys. I need another coffee. Oh, this is cold. All right, so that's enough at watching the top end guys throw guys out. It is a fun thing to go take a gander at on the leaderboard. These are the pop time leaders, the elite of the elite, in a three-way tie for first: JT Realmuto, Patrick Bailey, and Endy Rodriguez of the Pirates. Right behind them is Terens, Rafael Marchand, Eric Haas. So really anybody that's 1.9 or below seems to be kind of the elite crew. And they do it a number of different ways. It's not all on exchange. Sometimes it's arm, built by arm strength. Sometimes it's built by exchange. Let's break those down individually. Best arms in the big leagues for catcher. We know Dylan Dingler's #1, but the rookie, Samuel Basayo, who's one of the hitters I'm very, very excited about. Wow, I didn't know Endy was a New York guy. He's from NY? That's wild. I should have known that. I'm going to look into him a little more. Look at Hayden Sanger, 87-4, Adley Rushman. So you see the guys with the good arms. On the low end of that, who's got the worst arms in the big leagues from behind the dish? Austin Barnes, Kyle Higashioka. This is the Kevin Plawecki Award. Victor Caratino, Austin Wynns, Rob Brantley, Omar Narvaez. I mentioned him before. Not that you can't be a good catcher with a below average arm, but it's become more important now with the rules. So wanted to point that out. And then exchange, the quickest exchanges in the league. Tyler Heineman, Rob Brantley, and there's that Endy Rodriguez. So it makes sense. He's combining a great arm with a great exchange. There's big time potential with Endy Rodriguez behind the plate for throwing runners out. I could see him elevating himself to the top of the leaderboard based on this combination of good exchange and great arm strength. And you can see some of the guys with the low arm strength, they try to make up for it with great exchanges. Christian Vasquez, Omar Narvaez, Rob Brantley, etc., Heine. So, I don't know. Interesting to look. Who's got the slowest exchange? Drew Milas, Riley Adams, Logan O'Hoppe. This is a little bit of a concern probably for the Angels. He's your main starter. You need him because he can hit. But this is a major concern behind the plate for Logan O'Hoppe. Also a New York guy. Long Island guy. Met his dad actually at a golf thing. But he's a batter. Like, you want him for hitting, although he didn't hit much this year. That's the idea. The idea of Logan O'Hoppe is that he's going to hit home runs. 20 last year, 19 this year. But this defense is going to be tough to swallow behind the plate. So I wanted to take a look at that on the low end, kind of see where some red flags pop up. Let's go look at that fielding run value by catcher and see who's at the bottom of it, actually. See who's dragging their team down a little bit. Edgar Cuero, Agustin Ramirez, Logan O'Hoppe, Keibert Ruiz. It feels pretty obvious. Oh.
Are you dying?
I am dying. That looks amazing.
Are you dying?
Ooh, that's
You want me to
nice.
show them?
Yeah, should we show a little sneak peek on the
Yeah,
thing? Come.
but I don't want to be in it right now.
Here, just give it to me. Working on a few new things for the shop for our winter drop.
What do you think?
These are the blankets that I like. And we got baseball and coffee blankets coming. They'll be on the shop. And the good news is they're actually not that expensive. So
No, and you can wash them.
and you can wash them and the whole thing, and they're cozy, perfect
Throw
for
them
the
in
winter.
wash.
You'll probably see me in the winter shows just like super like cozy up in here. You know what I'm saying? As we do this.
This is gorgeous. Look, they nailed the blue. Because this is your hunky color blue.
Oh yeah. You like me in this color, right?
I do.
It ups my attractiveness to you.
100%. You're gorgeous in this.
All right, so that will be dropped when the chief of everything, Brett, decides. So anyway, these are the catchers really bringing you down
I'm obsessed.
defensively, and this is a big issue because I think catchers are the most important players on the team, and they
So
have the
proud
most
of
impact.
myself.
Great job, my love.
Thank you.
This is a little bit surprising. Alvy this year, -6 defensively. I'm a little surprised. Ooh, thanks, G. That's why you're my guy. Francisco Alvarez, StatCast fielding breakdown. How do you have a 5-star play? Yeah, I was gonna say that's defense. That's when he's hitting. Oh, that was stupid. I'm a little surprised by that. Because I think Alvy's a really good framer. Okay, what did he struggle with this year? -5 on blocks. You can see that there's a lot of picking going on. I think he just whiffs some balls sometimes, which has been a little interesting. But caught stealings above average is good, so he's solid in that category. Framing is hard for me to understand because he's a good framer. Like I'm really confused by that. All right, leaderboard, catcher, framing. And then we had him in the negatives, which is crazy to me. Here's Alvy. How do I look at other years? Ooh, start year. No, I just want 1 year. Don't do this to me. Start year 2024 and year 2024 update. I think Alvy was like really killing it with framing in the past. Yeah, last season he was +7, good for 10th overall in catcher framing runs. So I don't know. I'm a big believer in Alvarez. I don't give a crap what kind of season he had last year. This guy is going to be a good player. He's got huge tools in every way, a great motor, great work ethic. There's just no freaking way he doesn't, get to that point. Oh my God. Top strikes gained outside zone. I see my name here, so I want to click on this video. This is from 2024.
10th time in Pete's career, he's had at least 5 RBIs in a game.
Oh yeah, do it for me, Alvy. That's not even close. But we'll take it. Yeah, and G knows. He's an absolute animal. He is. He really is. So I believe in him a lot. You know what's great here is we have top framing situations. So maybe, I mean, while we're so obsessed with looking at the catchers, let's go back to 2025 update. And then let's go watch them. No wonder you like his framing. Yeah, no, but in general, though, he's got big, strong paws, man. That's a big thing, you know? Big, strong paws. All right, so let's watch Patrick Bailey frame a little bit here because apparently there's a visual that we can look at. We can look at their best frames, which I find very fascinating. Wait, why am I clicking on Pedro Paez? That's not him. I need Patrick motherfucking Bailey. All right. Top strikes gained outside zone. Let's see. Let's look at this.
Been the third most used pitch that he's had all night, 24%.
Get out of here. But I mentioned Bailey's good at the top and the bottom.
All night.
This pitch is such a bad call. You see the technique where he snatches it downward. That's crazy. Let's see this one.
On a grind. That's pretty much what's happening tonight for everybody.
Man, another one up. Rojas is like, just freaking kill me after this call. Are you kidding me with this call? That's nowhere close. All right, what about this one? We'll watch all of them, then we'll watch Kirk and Dingler as well. I'm curious to see. I mentioned that probably a lot of the framing was Logan Webb because Logan Webb is so good on the edges, but you see the anticipation, the glove comes out, and then it's already moving back to the zone as he catches it. Shielding it really, really well. Shielding the umpire really, really well. Here's one to Conforto.
And he's facing Michael Conforto. There's a strike, but it's time for a change.
Ugh, what is this video that's not showing me? That's a waste of our time. Let's go to this one. Ooh, Landon Roop was very generous. You can see why he's good at the top. Like, nobody else is really snatching as well on the top. And what's crazy is look how low the glove is. Then he comes up and snaps it down.
I would love to.
So that's pretty fascinating. Why do I hear Game of Thrones music? Oh, because you're making a social media post. Okay. No, I can hear it, though. Look at these snatches. These are way outside, but you get the idea. The idea, I mean, it's so funny because the catchers were not taught to do any of this stuff when I was coming up. They were taught to keep the glove where it was. You don't want to try to, fool the umpire, but you can see, you can fool these dudes. This is an amazing one here because it almost, to me, looks like he catches it deeper. Yeah, to let the ball travel a little bit. That's a pretty good strategy, no? Also, you got CB Buckner back there, so that checks out. All right, those are my top strikes outside the zone. I want to watch some on the bottom. I bet you can click on these. Aaron Judge, this guy gets screwed all day long on the bottom. Man, look at that aggressive move. That is nowhere close. I can't wait for ABS next year for the for the challenge system. It's just gonna be straight comedy and entertainment, watching how these dudes decide what to challenge and what not to challenge, and who's aggressive with it and all that, and who gets, you know, pie on their face when they're wrong. Like, I love all this shit. Here's another one down. Nasty. This is great that we get the visual of this. This is one of the coolest freaking things to look at. I hope you guys enjoy this on the channel because nobody else does this. Vinny Pasquantino says guys will be awful at it. I got to meet him at the World Series in Toronto. Another Paisan. He was trying to make sure I want to play for Italy and everything. So maybe we'll be best friends. I don't know. Apparently he's a Jets fan. I don't like football, but that gives me a chance to get along with him since he's around. Let's watch another one here. Then we're going to go ahead and look at Kirk versus Dingler. Man, look how low that is. So, all right. Those are some Logan Webb. No, those are some Patrick Bailey. Bottom of the zone Johnsons. All right, let's go look at my guy. God, no, go back. Go back. Alejandro. Let's look at his top. How many of this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Top 7 by distance. All right, so this one's off the plate away. This is a tough pitch to get called, although I will say lefties tend to get screwed more than righties off the plate away. But you know what's interesting about this is he doesn't do a huge move here. He actually frames it off the plate away and still gets the call. So this is a brutal play by the umpire. That's a brutal call by the umpire there. I would agree that the majority of these big misses are just bad calls by the umpire. But I'm curious. It's always interesting to watch them. Oh my God, here's another one way up high. Some of this umpiring, these are some of the worst calls of the season, but Kirk, and we mentioned Kirk's really good on the bottom. Maybe I'm wasting my time watching these extreme ones because they're not really showing as much skill. I don't know, but they have a nice list for me. Man, look how brutal this one is. Also, look at the move by Kirk here. Yeah, I'm gonna stop looking at the brutal ones and I'm just gonna go lock in. So Kirk is elite at the bottom, right? Elite at the bottom of the zone. So let's watch him frame from the bottom. Man, it's that same move that we saw with Bailey. It's the, you know, you're down there and then you literally bring the glove up into the middle of the zone, which is wild to see. Like the glove is in the middle. That's so wild. Let's see this one. I think a big part of it is just being low already, like with his body and everything. Like, so his chest feels low. I feel like all that helps sell the pitch to the umpire a little bit.
So many of these guys with their strength, you know, they get strong in their
nice. This is dope.
Strength, you know, they get strong in their leg.
So that's what the one knee down kind of affords you. You can get down a little bit lower and you can kind of snatch going upward and fool the umpire. So there's a few of Alejandro Kirk. We know that he's elite on the bottom rail, as contrasted with Dylan Dingler, who's also elite on the bottom rail. So they're both bottom rail guys. They're not great at the top, but they're both bottom rail guys. Let's watch a little bit of Dylan Dingler on pitches down.
Hit better right-handed than I did left-handed, so kind of a big surprise for me. But yeah, I think still
Dingler's a little bit of a bigger body, but you see it's the same technique. You catch it going up. It's like you barely catch it, so like the heel of your glove, like the top of the glove's in the zone. And I think that's part of it. Like at the moment he's squeezing it, part of that glove is in the zone. But nice job there by Dingler. Gets one there. Let's check out this one. Jack Flaherty called strike.
So I think Ken and those writers, they need to figure out a way to read.
It's amazing that guys are this fooled, but it's a lot of it is just how quick the move is, how strong the hands are.
So I think Kenny was right. Or they need to
It's also partly pitcher aided too, if they believe the pitcher can be good down there.
Hit better right-handed than
I already watched this one, sorry. And there's one more over here. This one's really low, so I'm curious how brutal this pitch call is going to be. Looks like Boone's mad, so it must be brutal. Yep, pretty low. But look at the move. Like, he catches it below the zone, and look how high the glove goes framing. Like, aesthetically, I don't love the big move. I saw a question about the big move just now. Do you think they'd be better off with smaller moves? The truth is, like, these are the guys that are leading the league. You see the big moves that they make, they're effective. You know, they wouldn't be doing them if they weren't effective. I know aesthetically, and for us old heads, us old baseball heads, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But back in the day, framing was small moves only, and now it's big moves. So let's see what G says. He's got some information. I think all the gloves go to the middle now, not a small move, because they're trained to catch the ball while moving back to the zone. That's totally true. And also, sometimes I feel like if you make a small move and you hold it on the corner, they're like, oh, you're trying to fool me. But they have no idea where your hand was in space if it's back to the middle. You know, like, they're just really confused about where the ball was. They don't have a lot of time to kind of conceptualize what just happened. But this does make me intrigued a little bit to go look at who was the best at the top of the zone. Austin Wells was the best at the bottom, so maybe we'll watch a little bit of Wellesley at the bottom to see if there's anything different there, if it's the same move. I bet it's the same move. I bet there's nothing new about Wells's move. It's probably the same style. You're just below it, and you snatch up all the way to the middle. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I mean, are you kidding me? This ball's down. Look where it's caught, and then look where the glove goes. Yeah, it's fascinating to see it, you know? Fascinating to watch it. Let's see this pitch. Oop. King Carlos. Again, where it's caught, where the glove goes. Yes, and he's bad on high pitches, so maybe we can formulate a little bit of why that might be. Here's a high pitch that he doesn't get called for a strike. This is an example.
It's Jaron Duran leading things off and taking
For whatever reason, really bad at getting high pitches called. I think he's just late getting there. The glove's so low, but then he goes up. It's like he's a little low getting there, so he's not beating the ball to the spot as well as Patrick Bailey was, and that's why he's not getting both up and bottom, would be my assumption. Let's watch another one. This one's 92% strike, so let's see. The glove goes down, and then the pitch is up. That's just bad umpiring. There's a strike all day long. I don't know. Interesting to see, though. Wells' stance is definitely geared for the bottom of the zone. Who's the best on the top besides Patrick Bailey? 9 runs there. Hedges is pretty good on the top. Let's watch Hedges for a sec. Just curious. Let's see Hedgie from the top. I just think it's about getting the glove there early enough to make it look like it's coming down when you catch it. It looks like that's the biggest thing. Also, oh, there's a little bit of a technique here of a rolling down to the wrist. Do you guys see this? Wrist roll down. Rather than move the whole hand, maybe it's more of a wrist roll. So that's what it looks like on that one. Let's see this one.
Guardians loss. Guardians radio.
Yeah, he's doing a wrist roll. So that looks like maybe that's a little bit of the top of the zone technique. That's nicely done. Very nicely done. I would have loved to get some pitches at the top. That'd be really cool. Tanner Bybee. There's Vinny P. Can't believe he got that call. Neither can Vinny, but so when he's at the top, Hedges doesn't go for the huge move back to the middle. Looks like that's more of a bottom move. From the bottom, you scoop from the bottom and carry it really high to the middle. From the top, it's just more of like a pancake down. I don't know. I find that interesting. That's interesting little technique, right? Right, like he sets up the glove as partly in the zone and then reaches with the web, so part of it's in there. Yeah, I don't know. Pretty cool. How much of this is luck? Do elite framers perform similarly year over year? Yes, but not consistently perfectly. I think a lot of it is the pitchers you're working with. Years ago, in framing, um, I remember one season where Yasmani Grandal won the framing race with the Dodgers, but he was catching Greinke and Kershaw in their prime, and it was a big command situation. And I was kind of like, that has to help. It has to help when you have a pitcher that's going to get the benefit of the doubt from the umpire and also can actually throw it where you call the pitch, so you can do your anticipation and everything. If you're catching guys that are all over the place, it's not going to work as well. So now we've kind of devolved into this catching framing look. Is anybody really good on the sides that we haven't seen? Jose Trevino is incredible on the shadow right side. Let's see what that looks like. We know he won Gold Glove with the Yankees, so he's over here. These balls over here is where he's at, where he's a leader. Let's see what his technique is on this side of the plate.
Looking.
Not a big move, more of a subtle move. So it seems like most of the guys that are elite with the big move, it's going down to up, and if it's on the other edges, it's more subtle move might be the better move to make.
Oh, there, Joel. He was deep in the seat too. That was...
Oh no, Nolan. It's actually a little bit similar, in my opinion, to Hedges' like little wrist move, where it's more of like you have a little bit of the glove in there and you just kind of massage it down in, like a little bit of a subtle move. But I don't know. Interesting to watch this technique a little bit.
Base paths, they only have 14 stolen bases on the year. But you also have a lot.
Also sells it. I mean, immediately gives the pitcher props for a good pitch. And you can see here, it's the same thing. Catches it way over in the web, gloves in the zone. So that's a little bit of a sneaky move. I kind of like that. All right. So I don't know. What have we learned today watching catchers frame? I guess we'll do more deep diving into this, but it looks like the guys who are elite on the low rail, on the bottom of the zone, tend to make a bigger move into the middle. And then the guys on the other edges where it's the top or the sides, looks like for the most part, it's a little bit more of a subtle move, and you're trying to create that illusion that your glove is in the zone. When you're catching it a little bit outside of the zone, but you're showing a visual of leather being in the zone, that can fool the umpire to some extent. So that's pretty cool to look at. All right, we talked through the Gold Glove winners. Now there are two utility players. We will look at Dubon a little bit. Javier Sanoa won the other utility award, so I guess I have to take one quick moment to research that. Leaderboard, fielding run value. Javier Sanoa, huh? That's surprising. Wow, he had -2 fielding run value on the year. How did he win this utility Gold Glove in the National League? I'm surprised at this. So I guess it's mainly just because he played all over? Played center field, left field, shortstop, third base, second base? He was above average in throwing. Who were the other possible candidates for Javier Sanoa that won this utility award in the National League? Who were the other candidates? Let's see. So this is National League utility. NL utility Gold Glove finalists. All right, well, here were the finalists from the article here. We need National League utilities. Here it is. National League Utilities was Rojas, Sanoa, and Triolo. Sanoa ends up getting the nod. Yeah, Rojas and Triolo, you're right. I'm a little confused by this. I feel like Miguel Rojas had way more defensive value than Javier Sanoa did, and Jared Triolo probably as well. I'm not really seeing it statistically, so I'm a little confused. What did Triolo? Triolo was utility, but yeah, I mean, huge run value on defense. +6 outs above average, and then Miggy Rowe. Miggy Rowe this year was +6 as well. I know that maybe they're giving him credit for playing a little bit of outfield. Did Triolo play any outfield? I don't think so. Where's my fielding run value leaderboard? And then we're looking for Triolo. I mean, he's -5 as well. Or, well, that's +5. It's just not elite, but let me look at him. So far I'm seeing 2 of the Gold Glove winners that I want to quibble with. I could quarrel with a little bit. It's Kirk not winning over Dingler. That one seems pretty obvious to me. And this one a little bit. And then, I guess there's a little bit of a talk about Ian Happ winning it again in left when he didn't seem to have quite as good of a season. So he only played infield, shortstop, third base, second base, first base. Sanoa got a little bit of time in the outfield, so maybe that made a difference. But I don't know. I feel like Triolo or Rojas got a little screwed here over Javier Sanoa. In my opinion, I'm not really seeing it. Javier was +2, Triolo was positive that, and then Miguel Rojas +5. What positions did Miguel play? Obviously played all infield. I don't think he got any outfield stuff. +6 by position. Miguel, shortstop, third base, second base. I don't know. Hard to figure that one out. For sure. These were the Gold Glove winners. So once again, just going over it one more time. No problem with the pitchers. I believe Logan Webb actually is elite holding runners on as well. It seems like this is becoming a bigger part of the stat for pitcher Gold Glove is how you handle the running game, and it should be. No, we have not talked about the finalists yet. Plenty of time for that. Sorry, Marcus. Logan Webb. Let me look at his running game stats. Oh well, he flipped the script. He used to be bad, and now he's good. I wonder what he got better at. Let's see. So on the year, they barely attempted off of him, which tells me that his pickoff probably got better. So the leads probably got a little bit shorter. He probably stopped tipping, and I mean maybe he got a little quicker to the plate. I don't know. These are the new metrics that people would start to look at as time went on. A big one is lead distance gained. So only 4.3 feet. That's obviously less than the other years. They had gotten bigger leads the previous year. I think that's a big deal. Also, you have Bailey. So Bailey back behind the plate. Yep. Good comment by a few people about Bailey. Good catch on that. I mean, he's dealing with the best, one of the best guys in the world at throwing runners out. I think he came in at number 3, we saw. So he's got that working to his advantage. But I don't know. He definitely got improved. He definitely improved on his process from last year to this year. He obviously had Bailey last year. No pickoffs, but just not a lot of attempts. Only 5 attempts is truly wild for a guy who pitched that many innings. At pitch release, which is what matters, they were only 15.7 feet towards second base, whereas they were well over 16 in the other years. So that definitely matters, and you can see how it showed up relative to last year. So he did his part, and then Bailey did the rest, and that probably helped a lot. I know Logan Webb also made a lot of fielding plays, but I wanted to check on that really quick while we were here. All right, so no issues with that. No issues at second base. Third base was fine. Shortstop, those guys deserved it. Outfielders, everybody but Happ maybe was a pretty clear winner, but there was no real strong competitor in left. And then Dingler, we thought, look, not taking anything away from Dylan Dingler, but it looked like Kirk was a little more impressive at that spot. Patrick Bailey was a no-brainer. He might win the Platinum Glove in the NL. I could see that. And then utility, Dubon is a good pick. Ernie Clement was another really strong candidate. And Sanoa, it just looked like Triolo might have got screwed a little bit here, as well as maybe Miguel Rojas. So really only 2 or 3 quibbles with this year's Gold Glove, which is great. That's a lot better than it used to be. It used to be really, really ugly back in the day. Used to be, I mean, just crazy. You had to hit your way into a Gold Glove, which we all know makes no fucking sense. So, who caught Webb when he was playing last year? I would say majority probably Patrick Bailey. But you know, maybe a little mixture of Joey Bart, I believe, was there before he got traded, and I'm trying to think who else they had. Tom Murphy for a minute, but then he got hurt, so I don't know. I think they put a bunch of consideration into amount of positions played as Ernie got robbed. That's what Just Old Stamps is saying. I think that's been a consensus. A lot of people wanted Ernie to win, so I can understand that to some extent. But he did not win. Mauricio Dubon got up. Casali was somebody who caught him a lot last year, and I do think Casali's below average in throwing. I think he's more known as a game caller and stuff like that. So that makes sense. All right, hour 45 in. We didn't really even get to playoff takeaways. I guess we can talk about that for a minute before I say goodbye for today, and then we'll be back on Friday. Thanks for everybody who did hang with me today. A little bit of a lighter crowd today, but still fun, still good. I hope people enjoyed. You know, anybody who watched the Yamamoto videos, there's the Vlad video. For tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and get an Ernie Clement video up there. It might be a little long because, you know, we're going to watch all of his postseason at-bats in one video. But he's a fascinating swing, fascinating guy to watch, and he was so productive in the postseason. So I'm going to make a nice long video on Ernie Clement, all his at-bats from the postseason as he set the new record for hits. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. I'm just going to say real quick, we don't need to talk too much about the postseason takeaways. My quick thoughts are just like the starting pitcher is back. Clearly, offensively, what plays is a mixture. You want to have some pop. You need to have pop in your lineup. To me, like, you know, you see A-Rod going on TV and talking about how home runs don't play. And it's like, bro, I think what you mean to say is selling out for home runs doesn't play. Home runs play. Home runs are fucking runs, right? Home runs play. Look at the Dodgers. Dodgers won the World Series. They were the lesser offensive team by OPS, but they ended up hitting more home runs. You saw the 3 solo shots in Game 7 really made a difference. Home runs matter. Where I would tend to agree is the process of the more elite teams in the postseason are going to be the teams that have pop, but also don't strike out a lot and can find a way to put the ball in play and make things happen, because that's what it takes against elite pitchers with strikeouts that don't know how to pitch to contact. The guys that know how to pitch to contact, like Yamamoto, pretty hard to beat those guys anyway. But let's be honest, the majority of the league pitches for strikeouts. They sell out for strikeouts. They don't know anything about controlling their contact. So given that that's the environment, you would love to have a team that's really hard to strike out, because then a pitcher doesn't know what to do. But you have to have an element of power. Even the Jays had, you know, element of power. They got grand slam from Barger in Game 1. They got a 3-run homer from Kirk. They hit some big home runs. The Springer home run stands out in that Seattle game. Now, I think the difference, and the thing that I've been mentioning a lot, is that they had runners on base for those home runs. And that's where you got to give credit to the grinder style, get hit style, because obviously the more runners and people you can have on base when you hit a home run, the more impact it has in terms of overall runs scored. So, you know, from an offensive style standpoint, you're looking for a mixture of both, and just being a tough team to play against, tough team to match up against on the mound. And then, you know, on the mound, you're going to have at least 2 guys that can go out there and win a ball game for you by themselves on the mound. I don't think one's enough. We saw Skubal did his part, but one guy's not enough. You know, the Dodgers kind of proved it. They had 4 guys. Obviously, Yamamoto was the big one, but they had 4 guys that allowed them to get to the World Series and not be overexposed and not be exhausted. So they had enough pitching to get through that. And, you know, even on the Jays side, you saw some really tremendous starts from Savage. Bieber threw the ball really well. Gosman was outstanding. So to me, I think you need to be a well-rounded team if you want to win the World Series nowadays. You know, you can't just think you're going to bullpen the whole way through. Of course, you want to have a lot of good bullpen guys, but the starters are just paramount. This is where I would kind of point the finger a little bit at the Mets right now, where they're not really prioritizing having an ace. I don't see how you get through the gauntlet without one. So need to have an ace pitcher, need to play outstanding fundamental baseball all around, whether it's contact, whether it's on defense, being able to have, useful bench players that you can put in the game on defense. Looking for the Dodgers, Miguel Rojas, Andy Pajes, those things mattered. I mean, this is always true because it's baseball. Always going to need some luck, no doubt about that. But you can't plan for the luck. The luck shows up or it doesn't show up. I call it magic more so than luck. Kind of your goal as a team is to find a way to get in the dance and then find some magic, and hopefully you have the right roster that can kind of create that magic on their own. So, that's kind of my thoughts on that. Yeah, I mean, that's not really that complicated, but I think it's interesting though, because the Dodgers have this strategy of understanding that they have a team that's built for the postseason and they have enough overall talent to kind of get in. A lot of teams don't have the luxury of that. They're playing to get in, and then they're hoping that that same style carries over into the postseason. Whereas, I think it's a huge luxury to build your team more so for the postseason, and then, have the luxury of getting in. Because I do think the game is fundamentally played a little bit differently, in the postseason. I think we can all attest to that than the regular season, where, you just kind of roll it out there, and, it's a war of attrition and things are changing month to month and your team's kind of evolving and you're just trying to scrap and get as many wins as you can and stay mentally engaged. But it's different in the postseason. This is another a bigger important thing. Dodgers did it without their two closers was going into the year. So yeah, this concept of the elite reliever being the difference maker in the postseason, it can happen. But I actually think you see the starter is the guy who's a little bit more valuable overall. So those are my quick takeaways from the postseason overall. And then we're going to discuss a lot more on Friday. We'll come up with more topics on Fridays. Today we did Gold Gloves. I thought that was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Yep, I'm going to get that Ernie Clement video up sometime for tomorrow. And then we'll be back on Friday. And then Monday we'll be starting up with our conversations. Pete Alonso is the first one, so be excited for that. Send in your questions or whatever you have to me. That way I can relay them to Pete and we can get, other people involved. But overall, this has been fun. It was a good, solid little Wednesday today. As obviously it's not baseball season anymore, but it'll always be baseball season on this program. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of that Gold Glove talk, as well as a lot of catcher throwing stuff. So I'm also, I might mention this and I might post about it, but I'm thinking of starting up a Discord. So there could be more chatter between this community, because it's really great. So thank you so much. You guys are awesome. And thanks for hanging in the chat all day. So have a great day. Have a great Wednesday. And I will see you guys on Friday. Not to say that there is no baseball, because there is also Dominican League Baseball, Fall League Baseball. And I care a lot about winter ball, a lot more than I used to. So we'll check in on that as well as we go. But anyway, that's the show for today. Thanks so much. And I will see you guys on Friday. Adios. I'll let you guys know about the Discord if I set that up. All right. Adios. Peace.